When Rafer called me a few weeks ago to share this, I immediately thought that this is a tribute to our company, Albertsons Vons Pavilions. It's a tribute to the Albertsons Company Foundation, the Vons Foundation, and more importantly, it's a tribute to the tens of thousands of employees that have been involved with this great partnership here with Special Olympics Southern California for 32 years. You know, we have, every year, we have 200 to 300 employees that wake up super early, make sandwiches for the athletes, coaches, and volunteers, and it's an incredible event. If you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. We had some folks today that retired this year from our company that showed up. We have people that have been attending this event, wherever the venue's been, for the last 20, 25 years. So it really is, as somebody said earlier, a labor of love. I wanted to speak from the heart, and so what I want to talk about is three things. I want to talk about the personal partnership that we have with Special Olympics Southern California. I want to talk about my personal connection with Special Olympics. I want to talk about the people that run this great organization. On the professional piece, I've been on the board, as Bill said, for a few years, and 3 years ago, the company I was with merged with another grocery company. And those of you that have been through mergers, they always look great on a piece of paper, on a spreadsheet, numbers, X's and O's. The real opportunity is the culture of two great companies that come together. So when Albertsons and Vons and Pavilions came together 3 years ago, I found it great that our purpose statement for our company was to be the favorite local supermarket. And to me, what that means is it's nothing to do with selling groceries. It has to do with really getting behind the communities that our stores operate in. So early on, and some of the team here will remember, we had meetings, and we had to decide who we were going to be, what we wanted to do, and one of the first meetings that we had a couple of weeks into the deal was I wanted to keep, and the team wanted to keep, this partnership with SOSC alive and well. And so I think it was probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks into the merger, we had our first new company, larger company, check stand campaign. It was a smashing success, and we continue to do that today. What I'll tell you is I want to thank SOSC. That event for our new company 3 years ago really set the tone. It was a building block for a foundation that has helped our two proud cultures from 3 years ago come together today and make a great company. So SOSC, Bill and team, I thank you for that. The other thing I want to talk about is my personal connection. When I was a year old, our family was involved in a car accident, and my right eye was severely damaged. I couldn't see out of it any longer. When I was 5, the doctor decided I was old enough to actually have my eye removed, and an artificial eye was put in. I didn't realize I was different than the other kids until I started in kindergarten. And you can imagine the teasing, the taunting, that type of stuff. And I didn't think I had a voice. The house we grew up in, small town here in Southern California, my dad had put up a warped piece of plywood on a telephone pole in our driveway. There was an old rusty basketball rim. And I could remember after school being alone, just shooting hoops. Really developed a passion for basketball. Well, I can remember in 4th grade, I worked up the courage to go out to the playground where there's a group of kids picking teams for a basketball game. So I'm in the group, and one by one the group got smaller, and the two captains picked teams, and I was the last person standing, and I could remember the debate going on why the other person should pick Barker. Long story short, I wasn't picked. I can remember, being embarrassed, ashamed, and went home. I don't know if it was a couple weeks later or a couple months later, there was a knock on the door one Saturday morning, and a gentleman was talking to my mom for a few minutes, gave her some paperwork, and he left. My mom said he was a volunteer athletic basketball coach for our town, youth basketball, and he'd seen me shooting hoops on the street in our driveway as he drove by, and wanted to know if she'd be interested in having me sign up for basketball. So she did. I played, I remember, I'll always remember this, the first game we played Saturday morning, the score, we won, the score was 24-12. I had 14 points. It had to be the warped piece of plywood, right? Basketball backboard. I remember that next week at school during recess, as we were filing out, one of my classmates, who was one of the captains before, said, "Hey, Barker, you're playing, right? Because I want you on my team." So I think there's a parallel there. If it wasn't for a caring individual who volunteered time to help young kids, I may have not found my voice. And so I'm glad to say I did. What Special Olympics does for our athletes, and also the parents of our athletes, it's incredible. You can never underestimate it. They truly are, we truly are making a difference in the lives of others. The last thing I wanted to talk about was people. You know, I've been involved in a lot of organizations. I've been involved in some boards, and they're all great, and they're all filled with wonderful people. There's something different about the people at Special Olympics. And if you know who they are, you know what I mean. If you don't know who they are, you got to get to know them. From Mr. Rafer Johnson, who we wouldn't be here without you, sir. You're a true gentleman. I told your son a funny story about a few years ago when we met, and I mean, you're the epitome of just a fine human being. Jeff Krieger, who's running Special Olympics now, terrific guy. Kelly Pond, I say Kelly is the unsung hero. She does a ton of stuff behind the scenes and really is the glue that keeps the organization together. And then Mr. Bill Schumard, you know, as I said, I've met a lot of people over my life, my career. I've never met a finer human being than Bill Schumard. So in closing, you know, I want to say once again, on behalf of our company, you know, our frontline team, our Fullerton support staff, I mean, this really is, you know, a tribute to all of you. Thank you for being here today. I'm truly humbled and honored to be a small part of this wonderful team. Thank you.